Hello YouTube, this is Lachlan T 1984 from Melbourne, Australia. It's been a while since I've done any videos on YouTube, but I picked up this radio about 2 weeks ago. I bought it new, and I thought I might do a video about it. This is the Bush model it's TR82 DAB, I think. This is a portable radio that looks like it was designed in the 50s. It's this sort of retro design. It's all made of plastic, of course, but it looks like a radio from the 50s. It's long wave and AM and FM, but it's also a digital radio. It has DAB. It's a really interesting design and quite bizarre, really. The long wave and AM and FM section is tuned by this dial on the front here, but then on the top you've got this LCD screen and 2 rows of buttons that you use for tuning the digital radio. Quite a bizarre arrangement. And I know that a lot of people don't think much of Bush branded products these days because the quality is usually not very good, and this radio is certainly not the best radio you can buy. But for $99 Australian, it's not bad. There are a few things about it that I don't like, but it's not too bad. Of course, it's got nothing on that Bush model VHF 102 that AG3304 has mentioned on his YouTube channel. That's a beautiful thing, that one. I think it was from the 60s. This is nowhere near as nice as that, which is what you'd expect from, modern electronic devices made in China. But, oh well, I'll quickly show you what this radio sounds like. I've put it onto AM just for the moment, so I'll turn it on.
The temperature's climbing back into the high 20s, so it's...
They're a lovely tree to have.
Yeah, it looks very much like a weeping willow from the distance.
Yeah, it does. They're a really good asset in the garden.
Yeah, so this home, Darren, would suit someone wanting to scale down for a bigger project.
If you want to sanctuary the building, there are, numerous ways to sanctuary. Which is...
All of this, we haven't been getting the rain and cloud that we saw last year, which is...
That's ABC, that's the station I sometimes listen to.
Continuous annual events.
Yeah, top 4, easy as that.
All right, just a very quick aside. I was a fellow Jets players, Josh...
They want to cover for Mitch, so they're happy to maybe consider it or do the deal with Carl Hooker if you wanted to go
I think I might be picking up a bit of interference from the computer over there. I've got the computer turned on, so I think it might be...
disappointing.
So Hooker would have gone...
Madness, Singleton said. If this was a normal race and not the Cox plate, the horse would be scratched and the trainer sacked. I instructed my racing manager, Duncan Grimley, to tell Gay to get barrier 4 to 6 if possible.
Coming close together with a feeling.
We don't use long wave here in Australia. There are the buttons on the top. So you got the medium wave button on the left, long wave, FM, then DAB. We don't use long wave in Australia, but we can go over to FM. You've got a tone control there as well, so you can... Oh, really? Is that the Gary Jules version?
This is Saturday Morning Hamish and Andy.
Popping them inside. A single trap collected more than 16,000 tadpoles.
So you...
Okay. And so that's...
I want to tell you about it.
Temperature should it be at? How do you serve the perfect sparkling? Do you need a particular glass?
Yeah, put it back on ABC. Now we'll go over to DAB now.
General manager.
And you won't be able to read the display properly because the display isn't very easy to read. But this is now on digital radio, so we use the DAB Plus standard here in Australia, and the sound quality is actually very, well, I don't think it's very good, to be honest. I think it sounds a bit rubbish. It just sounds very compressed, like a low quality MP3 file. It sounds pretty terrible in my opinion. It's not very good. But the thing I like about digital radio is all the different stations you have. You've got a lot of different stations that aren't on AM and FM, which is good. And so, what you do here is you tune the digital radio with these buttons on the top. So, I'm going to push the down button. Yeah, the display isn't... Oh, Pet Shop Boys, nice. I like the Pet Shop Boys, really like them. You've got 10 presets for DAB, which is certainly quite reasonable. It's not bad. I have other digital radios. I just think this radio is really unique because you've got the analog tuner on the front for AM along wave and FM. Yet for digital you've got the, well, of course you've got the digital computerized tuning. I have a couple of other digital radios that also receive FM, and they use PLL digital tuning for FM. So in that regard, I think this radio is quite unique because it has the full...
It's 9:15.
AM, FM, long wave, analog tuning. If we bring the radio over to the light, you can see on the dial, I'm not holding it properly, so I'm going to drop it. Hang on. I don't know how easily the camera's going to pick this up, but there are names of stations, I think, on the dial. I forget if any of those are stations in the UK, because Bush is very much an English brand name. But around the outer circumference of the dial, you've got the sort of standard numeric frequencies you'd find, you know, FM being 88 to 108 megahertz and AM being, what, 520 kilohertz to like 1600 kilohertz on most radios. This radio can be used on AC or on batteries, and I have 6 C cells in it. Changing the batteries in this radio is a bit of a nuisance. You've got to undo this screw at the back of the radio and take this whole cover off. This isn't like your sort of traditional portable radios from the 50s and 60s where you remove the cover and it exposes all the componentry inside the radio. This isn't like that at all. The whole inside of the radio is just a completely black plastic cover, but down in one corner there's a little pocket which holds 6 C cells. You do have a headphone output and a line output socket on the right hand side here, so you would of course use the headphone output to plug in a pair of earphones if you want to, and the line output isn't affected by the volume control dial on the top there, it's fixed, so you'd use the line output to connect this unit to a stereo system, for example, or a pair of powered speakers. I am not entirely sure why you'd want to do that, because I think the internal speaker, though it isn't the best, is certainly adequate. One of the things I don't like about this radio is that when you plug headphones into it, the sound you hear isn't in stereo. You do get sound through both earphones, but it's not stereophonic. Even on FM and DAB+, it isn't stereophonic, which I think is a terrible disappointment. Terrible disappointment. If you use the line output connector, you get sound, you get stereophonic sound, but on DAB+ only, not on FM. So clearly the analog FM tuning in this thing does not receive FM stereo. Or it may do, but it may not be wired up to receive FM stereo. On the whole, I don't mind this radio, I quite like it. As I say, you know, it's not a genuine Bush radio made in Great Britain. I am a bit confused. I mean, a lot of people regard to Bush as one of those in brand name only companies where the actual company itself is no longer in existence and you just see the brand name, it's owned by some company. But there does actually seem to be a company called Bush Australia who market these things. One of the things that Bush have come out with last year, and it's actually a product that I think is very interesting, is a talking digital TV set-top box for Australian digital TV. When I say the box talks, I mean all the menus speak, so you arrow through the menus with the remote control and it verbally announces the menus. The box was mainly aimed at people who are blind or vision impaired who wish to watch TV. Because, you know, even though someone who's blind can't see what's happening on the screen, a lot of blind people do like watching TV for news and they like listening to the audio from, well, their favourite TV programs. But Bush have come out with this set-top box that has speech, so a blind person can independently find out what's on the TV with the electronic program guide. They can tune between stations, they can program the box and set it up and configure it the way they want. And I think Bush should be highly commended for that. I have actually had a play with the box, and I did speak to a representative of Bush Australia about it and asked them all sorts of questions. I think Bush should be highly commended for doing that. But, yeah. It would be nice if one of these days we see talking digital DAB plus portable radios, because I think radio is such an important medium for people who are blind and sighted. And I have blind and vision impaired friends who enjoy listening to the radio. But what worries me about them, I mean, I have some usable vision, but I'm not, my vision is severely impaired, but I can use the sight I do have. But I just worry about my friends who are totally blind, who may wish to use a digital radio, but they may not be able to use it properly because most digital radios just show information on the LCD screen and don't provide you with any kind of verbal feedback. So I do hope that Bush or somebody else comes out with a talking digital radio that is accessible to those who are blind. So anyway, that's my discussion of this digital radio. Overall, I don't mind it. It's quite a nice radio. It's got good sound. Well, good enough sound from a device of this sort of calibre. As I say, it's nothing compared to that VHF 102 digital radio that digital radio? Digital radio didn't even exist in the 50s and 60s. But it has nothing on that Bush VHF 102 radio that AG3304 has spoken about. But still, I think this radio is quite reasonable. Anyway, thanks for watching and feel free to leave a comment if you have one. Bye for now, everybody.